Most people don't realize that at the very core of existence lies a field so vast, so complete, it needs no improvement, only remembrance. That field is what ancient mystics hinted at, and what Ra calls intelligent infinity, the infinite creator in its raw, undistorted form. It's not some floating concept or abstract theology. It's the living source of all consciousness. Everything you've ever known, every moment of clarity, every burst of creativity came from this field. But here's the thing. You don't access intelligent infinity with your mind. You reach it when you dissolve the illusion of separation. And that begins with spiritual balancing. Only when the inner static quiets down can the signal of divine connection break through. Accessing this field isn't something reserved for monks or gurus. It begins the moment you take your self-awareness seriously. The chakras, or energy centers, are the roadmap. When your vibrational frequency is locked in the red ray or orange ray, you're stuck in survival and emotional reactivity. But once the heart chakra, or green ray, begins to open, the game changes. That's the foundation. From there, the blue ray awakens authentic expression, the indigo ray ignites spiritual insight, and finally, the crown chakra, your gateway to intelligent infinity, lights up. Think of it like tuning an instrument. You can't play a symphony if one string is out of tune. Many seekers try to force higher consciousness without understanding that the crown chakra can't be hacked. It can only be invited. That invitation is made through inner purification, love, and service to others. When you stop chasing power and start living in unity consciousness, intelligent infinity reveals itself. It might arrive as a moment of deep stillness, a spontaneous healing, or a flash of genius. Ever had an idea so brilliant it felt like it wasn't yours? That's what it feels like when cosmic energy flows freely through an open system. And once that door opens, there's no mistaking it. You begin to notice you're no longer reacting to life. You're co-creating with it. That's when crystallization kicks in. You're not just thinking more clearly, you're vibrating at a higher density. The chakras stop competing and start collaborating. It's not magic, it's mechanics, spiritual mechanics. And when your entire field is integrated, you start influencing reality in subtle but powerful ways. People feel different around you. Opportunities unfold without effort. It's not about becoming special. It's about becoming aligned. Intelligent infinity doesn't choose favorites. It simply flows where there's no resistance. And that flow, it's the beginning of real ascension. But don't mistake the crown chakra as the final destination. In truth, it's just the beginning of a whole new level of perception. To walk through that gateway and stay there, you have to understand the deeper structure of consciousness itself. And that means understanding unity. Because without it, even the most powerful access to intelligent infinity will be short-lived. So let's break down how this unity operates, not as a concept, but as the actual core of who you are. Chapter 1. Unity as the core of consciousness. If there's one truth that can shake the foundation of your reality, it's this. There is no separation. Every thought, every being, every breath you take, all of it is the creator, fragmented only by the illusion of individuality. Ra teaches that unity isn't an ideal, it's the actual structure of consciousness. The law of one isn't poetry, it's physics at the spiritual level. The moment you grasp that every person you meet is another version of you, something cracks open inside. That's the green ray doing its work, the frequency of universal love. But here's the catch. You can't think your way into unity. You have to perceive it. Imagine looking at a sphere. No matter where you stand, you'll see a different angle. But the sphere itself never changes. That's consciousness. Every viewpoint, even the ones you can't stand, is a valid slice of the infinite creator. This shift in perception is what starts to awaken the blue ray, compassion mixed with clarity. It's not about agreeing with everything. It's about recognizing the divine behind the mask. You stop fighting to be right and start listening with your whole being. That's when communication becomes telepathic, heart to heart, soul to soul, and unity starts feeling like home. Now, unity isn't always comfortable. Let's be real. It's easier to judge, to exclude, to divide. But division blocks the chakras, especially the heart chakra. The more you resist others, the more you resist yourself. And here's a hard truth. You can't bypass love to reach higher states of consciousness. The green ray is the threshold. Without it, the indigo and violet rays stay dormant. They don't respond to intellect or ambition, only to love. That's why some spiritual masters still radiate coldness. They skip the heart. And what good is psychic ability without compassion? True unity isn't passive. It's radically active. It demands that you see the soul behind the shadow. And no, this doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you see conflict as a mirror, not a battlefield. Someone triggers you. That's gold. It means they're holding a piece of your fragmented self, waiting to be reintegrated. This kind of perception doesn't just change how you relate to others. It rewires your vibrational frequency. Suddenly, people are drawn to you, not because you're nice, but because you remember what they've forgotten. We are one. Always have been. Always will be. And as unity becomes your default lens, something curious happens. The higher chakras begin to stir. The blue ray hums with clarity. The indigo ray sharpens your insight, and the violet ray ties it all together into a single field of enlightened presence. But these rays don't activate on their own. They need a foundation, and that foundation is a properly aligned energetic system, a map known as the chakras. So how do these energy centers actually work? Let's break it down ray by ray. Chapter 2. Energy centers and their activation. Your body isn't just a biological machine. It's a spiritual instrument, and the chakras are its strings. Each one plays a unique note in the symphony of your consciousness. Ra restructured how we view this energy system, showing us that the red and violet rays form the energetic bookends of our being. They measure the total vibrational frequency, from base instinct to divine connection. Everything in between, the orange, yellow, green, blue, and indigo rays, functions as stages of spiritual evolution. If even one of them is blocked, the entire flow suffers. It's like trying to run a marathon with a twisted ankle. Let's start from the bottom. The red ray governs survival, food, shelter, safety. It's primal, but crucial. The orange ray brings emotion and individuality, your passions, your traumas, your sexual energy. Then comes the yellow ray, home of the ego and self-identity. Many people spend lifetimes caught between these three centers, replaying karmic cycles and wondering why nothing changes. They're not broken, they're just energetically jammed. And that's where self-awareness kicks in. The moment you realize you're more than the roles you play. That realization, it's the green ray knocking on your door. When the heart chakra begins to activate, everything shifts. The green ray doesn't just open you to others. It opens you to the creator within them. It's here that service to others truly begins. But this isn't about self-sacrifice. It's about seeing unity in diversity. Once the heart is open, the blue ray follows. Self-expression, wisdom, truth spoken with compassion. You speak not to win, but to connect. Then comes the indigo ray, spiritual vision, deep insight, and connection with your higher self. When these centers harmonize, the violet ray integrates it all, forming a complete, balanced field. Activating these centers isn't about rituals or dogma. It's about real work. Daily meditation, honest shadow work, conscious breathing, acts of service. All of these are tuning forks. Books like The Law of One or Wheels of Life by Enodia Judith can help. But theory alone won't do it. You gotta feel where you're blocked and move through it. Ever notice how hard it is to speak your truth when you're afraid of being rejected? That's your blue ray asking for attention. Or how you shut down emotionally after betrayal. That's your green ray begging for healing. Every challenge is a catalyst. And yet, with all this knowledge, most people still get stuck in the lower centers. They crave love, but don't know how to open the heart. They seek purpose, but are trapped in identity crises. Why is it so hard to break free from red, orange, and yellow rays? What stops humanity from stepping fully into the green ray and beyond? Chapter 3. Why Humans Struggle to Activate the Green Ray. The green ray sounds beautiful in theory. Love, compassion, unity. But let's face it, living from the heart isn't exactly humanity's strong suit. Most people spend their entire lives operating from the red, orange, and yellow rays, focused on survival, chasing validation, or defending their identities. These energy centers are loud and demanding, pulling attention toward fear, desire, and ego. Society reinforces this every step of the way. Protect yourself, prove your worth, get ahead. But here's the twist. None of that gets you closer to the crown chakra or intelligent infinity. If anything, it locks the heart even tighter. You see, the green ray asks for a shift that feels unnatural in a world built on separation. It's easy to love someone who loves you back. But what about loving the stranger who insults you? Or the parts of yourself you've spent years trying to suppress? That's where spiritual evolution begins. Not in the light, but in the discomfort. Activating the heart chakra isn't about being nice. It's about recognizing the creator in everyone, even when your mind wants to resist. And that kind of love, it's disruptive. It dissolves polarity. It humbles the ego and reveals your unity with all. One major obstacle is the spiritual ego, the identity that forms when people collect knowledge but skip transformation. They read about chakras, memorize the law of one, even quote Ra fluently, yet can't forgive their father. Real love requires embodiment. You can't fake it, and you can't bypass it. Want to open your green ray? Start where it's hard. Forgive someone who doesn't deserve it. Apologize without needing to be right. Sit with someone in pain without fixing them. These simple, quiet acts carry more metaphysical power than hours of chanting or abstract visualization. Another trap? The obsession with ascending too fast. So many people chase the crown chakra, psychic abilities, or indigo ray visions without building a foundation of love. But energy can't flow upward if the heart is closed. That's why some advanced-seeming individuals feel energetically cold. They've bypassed the emotional layer. But green ray activation isn't a stage to skip. It's the center of the system. Without it, higher densities remain inaccessible, regardless of your intention. True vibrational frequency rises when the heart is wide open and your actions align with unity consciousness. And if the key to green ray is perception, the next question becomes, how do we shift the lens through which we see ourselves and others? How do we train our awareness to dissolve separation so that the heart can finally stay open and the journey can move forward? Chapter 4. Perception is the key to unlocking energy centers. Everything begins with perception. The way you see the world isn't just a mental habit. It's the very fabric of your vibrational frequency. Ra made it clear. Consciousness evolves through shifts in perception. If you believe in separation, you reinforce energetic distortion across your chakras. That distortion blocks access to the green ray and beyond, no matter how many affirmations you repeat. Think about it. If you still see others as threats, competitors, or enemies, how could your heart possibly stay open? You can't fake unity. You have to see it, and that requires deep inner work. Here's where most people get it wrong. They try to achieve love without transforming perception. But love isn't a goal, it's a lens. The moment you begin to view every interaction as a reflection of the infinite creator, everything changes. Someone cutting you off in traffic becomes an opportunity for compassion, not irritation. A disagreement becomes a mirror of your inner fragmentation. That's not philosophy, it's spiritual practice in action. Each shift in perception loosens the grip of ego. And when ego loosens, the heart opens. And when the heart opens, you begin to move through densities with clarity. Let's say you're triggered by someone's arrogance. You could react and spiral into judgment. Or you could ask, what part of me feels unseen? That question alone creates space for healing. This is how we unlock energy centers, by choosing to interpret our experiences through unity consciousness. It's not always easy. Some days you'll fall back into fear, blame, or resistance. But each moment offers a new choice. Do you see the creator behind the lens? Do you fall back into vision? Perception is the bridge between knowledge and transformation, between information and embodiment. Once perception begins to shift consistently, energy starts to flow more freely through the chakras. The green ray welcomes universal love. The blue ray amplifies truth without aggression. The indigo ray deepens spiritual insight. And all of it rests on a new way of seeing. Not judging, not projecting, seeing. This clarity becomes a living vibration, a tone that others can feel. Your presence alone begins to affect the field around you. That's not a metaphor. It's resonance. You're tuning yourself to cosmic energy simply by shifting how you interpret life. And when perception becomes refined, the heart doesn't just open, it expands. But here's a powerful truth that often gets missed. Even green ray activation exists on a spectrum. Not everyone who feels love is fully heart-centered. So, how deep does that green ray go? Chapter 5. The Spectrum of Green Ray Activation. Most people think of the heart chakra like a light switch. It's either on or off. But in truth, the green ray works more like a dimmer, unfolding in layers and depth. You might feel love for your family, but can you hold compassion for a stranger? What about someone who's hurt you? That's where the spectrum comes in. Green ray activation isn't a single moment. It's a gradual expansion. The more you dissolve ego, the more universal your love becomes. And as your heart widens, so does your access to higher densities of consciousness. Some people crack open the heart just enough to feel occasional warmth. Others go deeper. They begin living from the heart, not just feeling through it. Their love becomes less reactive, less dependent on conditions. They don't need others to behave a certain way in order to remain open. That's emotional mastery, and it's a sign of spiritual crystallization in progress. The interesting part, the universe responds differently to each level of activation. When your heart is slightly open, you experience personal healing. When it's fully open, you become a healing presence for others, just by being. The deeper the green ray, the more naturally the blue and indigo rays follow. You speak with clarity, but without force. You see beyond appearances, but without judgment. That's because love purifies perception. It filters out fear, suspicion, and separation. People can feel it, not because you say the right things, but because your energy speaks louder than words. At advanced levels, this love becomes impersonal, not cold, but unconditional. You love not because someone is lovable, but because love has become your state of being. That's true unity consciousness in motion. Green ray expansion isn't linear. One day you may feel deeply connected to all beings. The next, you're triggered, shut down, and emotionally raw. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The work is in returning. returning to the heart after chaos, choosing love after pain. That's how the vibrational frequency strengthens. Every return makes the heart more resilient, more magnetic, more real. This is why self-compassion matters so much. It keeps the channel open when life gets messy. Because guess what? It always does. And still, the heart finds its way back to love. But once the green ray is opened, can it ever be lost? Is it possible for someone to backslide after reaching that level of expansion? Or does the universe protect those who've crystallized through love? Chapter 6. Can green ray activation be lost? Here's a question that haunts many on the spiritual path. Once the heart is open, can it close again? The answer is yes, but not in the way people fear. Green ray activation, once genuinely achieved, rarely disappears. However, life is unpredictable. Major traumas, betrayals, or conscious choices rooted in fear can cause the heart chakra to temporarily constrict. It's not a punishment, it's a signal, a call to return, to rebalance, to integrate what's been shaken. Spiritual evolution doesn't move in straight lines. It spirals, and sometimes the spiral leads us through the shadow to deepen our light. Losing access to the green ray doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human, navigating densities that challenge your vibration. The key isn't to avoid shutdown. It's to recognize it when it happens and choose the path back. If you notice yourself becoming cold, reactive, defensive, that's the signal. The heart is asking for presence, for softness, for self-awareness. You don't need to perform love. You need to feel where it's missing and gently restore it. This is what spiritual balancing looks like in practice, meeting contraction with compassion. Interestingly, higher density beings, those in the 4th and 5th densities, don't typically lose polarity once it's been crystallized. Why? Because their service to others isn't based on mood or circumstance. It's anchored in perception. They see the Creator in all, and that vision stabilizes their energy centers. For them, love is a function of truth, not emotion. But here in 3rd density, we're still learning, still wobbling between service to self and service to others. That's why we need practices that anchor us in vibrational frequency, meditation, shadow work, forgiveness, inner stillness. Some people mistakenly believe that enlightenment is a permanent state, but even masters have moments of contraction. The difference is in their recovery. They've trained their perception to return quickly, without shame. That's something anyone can learn. You fall, you rise, and every return strengthens your energetic resilience. Think of it like a muscle. The more you reopen the heart after it closes, the easier it becomes. Eventually, you live in a state where the green ray stays mostly open. Not because life is perfect, but because your commitment to unity has become unshakable. Still, there's another layer to this story. What happens when the heart opens, but through a distorted lens? Can beings walking the negative polarity also activate the green ray? And if so, what does that look like? Chapter 7. Negative Polarity and the Green Ray. Here's where things get a bit more complex. Most people assume that the green ray only activates through compassion and selflessness. But Ra makes it clear, even those walking the path of service to self can activate the heart chakra. The difference lies in intention and perception. Instead of universal love, they cultivate an intense love of self, a devotion to their own power and expansion. It's still recognition of the Creator, but filtered through the lens of domination. Yes, the green ray is open, but its flow is reversed, absorbed inward instead of expressed outward. These beings are often highly disciplined. They understand the metaphysical mechanics of chakras, vibrational frequency, and cosmic energy better than most. Their polarity is crystallized not through empathy, but through control. They access the blue ray through manipulation, persuasion, and calculated communication. The indigo ray becomes a weaponized portal, used to project willpower and control others psychically. From the outside, it may even look like spiritual mastery, but beneath it lies a cold, calculated separation from unity consciousness, an intentional rejection of service to others. It's important to realize that negative polarity isn't about being evil in the cartoon sense. It's a conscious, strategic path of spiritual evolution, just with inverted values. These entities see themselves as gods in the making, drawing energy from subjugation rather than harmony. They are creators, yes, but their creation feeds hierarchy, not unity. Many ancient priesthoods, authoritarian leaders, and advanced extraterrestrial factions have followed this path. It's seductive because it grants quick access to metaphysical power, but it also locks the soul into karmic entanglements that are brutal to unravel. So, can someone shift from service to self to service to others? Absolutely, but it takes immense perception work and ego dissolution. The moment the individual recognizes others as equals rather than tools, the green ray transforms. Power no longer feeds the self, it radiates outward. And that shift, it changes everything. The same energetic foundation becomes a force for healing, not control. What was once a fortress becomes a bridge. That's the power of the law of one. It holds space for redemption, integration, and unity, even for those who've walked the furthest from it. And as we reach the peak of this journey, the question becomes not just which path we choose, but how all of these energies come together. What happens when the chakras are fully integrated? Perception is purified, and intelligent infinity flows freely through a being. What does spiritual evolution look like when love, wisdom, and unity become a living reality? Chapter 8. The Spiritual Evolution of Consciousness. Everything we've explored, from energy centers to perception, from love to polarity, all funnels into one central idea. Spiritual evolution is a choice, not a destination, not a title, not a cosmic badge of honor. It's a daily decision to move toward love, toward unity, toward intelligent infinity. Each moment presents that choice. Will you close or open? React or respond? Serve yourself or serve others? The law of one reminds us that there's no punishment, only consequence. You vibrate what you believe, and what you believe shapes the density you experience. At the core of it all is perception. The lens through which you see others and yourself determines how your chakras respond. Blocked perception equals blocked energy. Clear perception, rooted in love and self-awareness, unlocks the heart, empowers the voice, sharpens spiritual insight, and aligns you with divine connection. That's when crystallization begins, the solidifying of a coherent vibrational frequency across all energy centers. And from that space, you don't just evolve, you radiate. You become a beacon, not by trying, but by being. But here's what's wild. Intelligent infinity isn't a goal to reach. It's a presence to remember. It lives in the silence between thoughts and the stillness behind the noise. And when your crown chakra opens, not through effort but through surrender, that infinite intelligence begins to flow through you. You stop identifying with your story and start remembering your essence. And that essence isn't separate from the Creator. It is the Creator refracted through the prism of your soul's unique path. That realization is what so many seekers are chasing, often without knowing what they're really seeking. And the path you walk, whether in service to others or service to self, shapes how that energy moves. The more aligned you are with love, the smoother the current. The more control and fear you hold, the more resistance you face. But even in resistance, growth happens. The universe doesn't waste anything. Every distortion, every blockage, every emotional awareness is a catalyst. That's the brilliance of cosmic evolution. It doesn't force you to change. It invites you. And the invitation is always wrapped in perception. How you see, how you feel, how you choose. So now, the journey becomes internal. Not just understanding chakras or reading spiritual texts, but living them, embodying service to others, feeling the green ray pulse with life, noticing when it falters and choosing to return. This is the real work, not flashy, not perfect, but profoundly transformative. Because the truth is, you already have the map, the compass, and the light. What's needed now is the will to walk forward. Conclusion. If love is the gateway, are you willing to walk through it? Now that you've seen the full picture, the chakras, the spectrum of green ray activation, the role of perception, and the gateway to intelligent infinity, the real question is, what are you going to do with this awareness? Because knowledge alone doesn't raise your vibrational frequency. Embodiment does. Maybe it's time to stop intellectualizing your spiritual path and actually start feeling it. Can you sit in silence long enough to hear your heart again? Can you meet your triggers with curiosity instead of defense? The path isn't outside of you. It never was. It's been pulsing within your energy centers the whole time. If love is the gateway, are you willing to walk through it? Are you ready to move beyond just surviving in red, orange, and yellow, and actually start living from your heart? Because once you choose that, everything shifts. Perception sharpens. The crown chakra opens. And intelligent infinity becomes a living current in your everyday experience. But it takes courage. The kind of courage most people are still waiting to give themselves permission to access. So here's the challenge. Will you rise? Will you return to the place your soul has never truly left? If this message spoke to something inside you, something real, raw, and ready to awaken, then don't let it fade. Keep this momentum alive. Hit that subscribe button, activate the notifications, and stay on this path with us. There's a reason you found this video. There's a reason you're still here. So drop a comment below and tell me, what do you feel blocked? And what part of your heart are you ready to reclaim? Your journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning.